Thanks for joining us this week for UND Sports Extra. I'm Alex Heinert. We've got a full show of North Dakota basketball on the way, beginning at the Betty on Thursday night, where the North Dakota men were taking on defending conference champions Weber State. UND entered Thursday's contest having beaten the Wildcats in their last meeting in Grand Forks last February, but it was the visitors with a 5-point advantage at the half thanks to a hot start from all-conference guard Jeremy Singland. The senior would score 13 before the break and another 8 to open the second to give Weber their biggest lead of the night at 55-46. North Dakota, though, would storm back with a 10-0 run thanks to the 1-2 punch of Gino Crandall and Quentin Hooker. Hooker would go for 22 points on the night, while Crandall would post a career-best 31 on 10 of 14 shooting. Crandall's layup with 2:22 remaining would put UND up 71-70, and they would not look back from there to earn the 83-77 victory over the defending tournament and conference champs. UND would shoot 56% from the floor, including a whopping 78% in the second half, and out-rebound the Wildcats 37-22 for their second victory over Weber in their last 3 games. A letdown Saturday against an Idaho State team with only 3 wins on the season was certainly a possibility, but after falling behind by as many as 15 points early, UND would crank up their play over the final 30 minutes in this one. Trailing by 1 at the break, UND would score the first 10 points to start the second thanks to hot shooting across the board. The Fighting Hawks would go 66% from the floor and knock down 13 threes, including 10 in the second half alone. Corey Baldwin would hit 7 of those triples and rack up a career-high 23 points to help UND outscore the Bengals 54-28 after halftime and complete the weekend sweep by the final of 89-64. Drick Bernstein was 1 rebound shy of a double-double with 14 and 9, while Quentin Hooker would go for 16 points and had 6 assists as UND improved to 11-7 on the year and 6-2 in the Big Sky. The North Dakota women had an impressive weekend as well, though the wins would not come easy. UND would dominate the opening 15 minutes Thursday night against Weber State to build an 18-point lead, only to see the Wildcats close the gap to 9 at the half. The second act played out a lot like the first, as the Fighting Hawks would push their lead to 15 with just 7 minutes to play, though the hosts would counter with a ridiculous 16-0 run to pull in front with 3 minutes left. Never one to panic, Michaela Dyer would score the next 5 points to put UND in front, only there would be no final push from the Wildcats this time. North Dakota would escape the D Event Center with a 70-65 victory. Fallon Frigi would score a career-high 21 points in this one, while Lexi Clabo would go for 17 with 14 boards, her 5th career double-double. Things would not get any simpler 2 nights later in Pocatello as Idaho State and UND would exchange the lead 16 times in a wild back-and-forth game in which neither side would trail by more than 6 points. Despite a 12-minute stretch without a field goal during most of the second quarter and the start of the third, North Dakota was able to hang in thanks to good defense and near-perfect free throw shooting. They would actually lead by 1 going into the fourth quarter, but would still need a late 3 from Lexi Clabo to help push the game into overtime. The sophomore would score 8 of her 17 points in the extra frame to go along with 8 rebounds and a career-high 4 blocks to help the Fighting Hawks pull out the 65-62 overtime victory. That's the 10th straight Big Sky road win for the program, who now improves to 7-1 in conference play this season. So the UND women matched the men's perfect week. We'll talk with Travis Brewster about his team's road sweep when we come back.
UND Sports Extra on Midco Sports Network is presented by Farmers Union Insurance and the University of North Dakota.
Well, another week, another pair of wins for North Dakota women's basketball, and here to tell us about it, the head coach, Travis Brewster. And Coach, a couple of wild games out in Ogden and Pocatello. There's never really a dull moment with this group this season, is there?
Well, we want to keep everybody coming to watch TV and watch games. We want to keep them interested. No, I mean, it's just one of those things, you know. We got to put together the game and put away a game at the same time. And some of that comes from experience. And, you know, it also comes with, you know, when you're sitting there playing at somebody else's gym, they're going to take it to you.
You took on two teams that ended your postseason runs last year in Weber State and Idaho State. And in that Weber game, felt like a couple different times you took control of the contest, certainly in the first quarter and the third. They just managed a way to fight their way back on both occasions.
Yeah, that's painful thoughts about last year, but they did. You know, you got to credit Weber. They cranked up the defense, turned us over a little bit at inopportune times. We lost our composure for a minute, and then we found it, and we took care of business. And I thought that Michaela Dyer and Fallon Frigia did a tremendous job of keeping us pretty steady. Mm-hmm. And then Samantha Roscoe kind of gave us some solid minutes in there when we needed it. And, you know, it's just one of those things. You got to take care of it. And obviously Idaho State was just a tough one.
Yeah, we'll get to that one in just a little bit. In that Weber State game, you mentioned Fallon and you mentioned Michaela. It felt like in that game, different players sort of took over at different sections of the contest. Lexi Clabo had a stretch where she was playing great basketball. You mentioned Sam as well. That's got to be nice to have multiple kids who you can rely on to score buckets in moments like that.
Well, and they get along. You know, so that's a big thing for it, and that's why they can play so well together. You know, and you look at a little bit of what they're doing. You know, Samantha comes in off the bench and provides a spark for us, but I mean, Fallon's been very steady for us to start the first quarter of our last 3 games. You turn around and you look at Lexi, who's, you know, she's starting to be a little bit of a force down the post to be reckoned with down there. And then Michaela, you know, she's always seems to, when it's time to step up in that fourth quarter, she finds a way to get it done. And so it's nice to have that, you know, and I'd be remiss not to talk about how our point guards have been doing a good job of defending on the ball. You know, Grace Swatsky and obviously Chastity Franklin. So, you know, it's a team game. You got to figure out ways to get it done.
One of the big moments in this contest, in that fourth quarter, you were up by 15. They go on a big 16-0 run to chip back in and take the lead. But how big, though, for this team to step up? Michaela Dyer hits a big 3 and makes a couple of free throws. You're able to get back in front and stay that way. How big to get a win in this place where you've had some success over a team that has had your number at different times?
Well, you know, it's one of those things of when you squander a lead like that, to be able to turn around and figure out, hey, we got to continue to play defense and we got to execute on the offensive end. It's always good to win on the road, especially in our conference, and Weber's just not an easy place to win. It's just not. It doesn't matter who you are, what you're doing. They play just up-tempo hoops.
Yeah, so you get the big 70-65 victory over the Wildcats. Then you go to Pocatello, and the Weber game was kind of a game of runs and momentum swings. And Idaho State was a much tighter affair. This game never really got out of hand on either side. A very close game throughout.
Well, you know, Seed Sobolewski does a heck of a job there, and they're a very defensive-minded team and very physical. And, you know, you have to match that physicality, and then turn around and you're going to have to play solid D because they run some very good sets and things to get their players great opportunities. So they make you pay if you make a mistake. So for us, playing there, it's always been a tough place. Reed Gym's very small. It's very loud, you know, and you just got to stick together as a group.
There was a long stretch there, kind of like that Weber game where there was some adversity for you, no field goals over about a 12-minute span on either side at halftime. How did you overcome that stretch?
Well, getting to the free throw line was a big one. Just trying to score points not being guarded. The other part was obviously you got to play some defense, you know, and I thought that we weren't stellar on D, but we were solid enough to go ahead and take care of business. And then, you know, then we had to finally make a run, and you know, obviously we got to overtime.
Yeah, Lexi Clabo was big in getting to overtime, 17 points all coming after the half. You mentioned after the fact that you kind of challenged her to step up her game at the half, and she certainly responded in this one.
Well, I thought that Lexi, in my opinion, was kind of waiting too much. She needed to take it to them a little bit, and that happens, you know, with players where they're really just working on playing team basketball, but we need her to be assertive and aggressive out there. And I thought Samantha Roscoe, again, kind of helped get her going. But, you know, Lexi was big, knocked down 2 key threes for us, you know, got some key rebounds, ran the floor well. Again, you know, you look at the group of players on the floor and they're making a solid push.
Yeah, you get the big win in overtime, 65-62. You've now won 8 of your last 9, 7-1 in conference. All but 2 of those games have been by less than 5 points. There's been a lot of tight games. You've found ways to win. That was different maybe than what we saw at the beginning of this season. What has this team learned about closing out games over the course of the year?
Well, we practice a certain way, obviously, and you got to carry that over to games. And when you make mistakes, you can't dwell on the mistake. You got to keep on battling. And, you know, we always talk about give ourselves a chance at the end by not shooting ourselves in the foot. And so you got to keep battling through. Don't get me wrong, I would love to, be winning by 15, 20 every game. But the other part about it is the more tight games you play, the better you get in tight games. And so eventually, hopefully you get to that point of where if you ever get to that situation where it's a huge game and it's a, do or die situation, you come out on top.
Yeah, well, this team continues to find ways to win a couple more chances this week. Home games coming up against Southern Utah on Thursday here on MidcoSN and on Saturday against Northern Arizona. Coach, best of luck in both of those contests. We'll talk to you about them next week.
Yep, thank you.
Travis Brewster. The UND men's basketball team also picked up a pair of wins this past week. We'll talk about them with Brian Jones after the break. Well, what a week it was for UND men's basketball, and here to talk about the week, head coach Brian Jones. And Brian, again, another couple of big victories for your team. The excitement around this group has been there since the start of the season, but it only seems to be getting more and more pronounced as the year goes on.
Well, obviously, with the opponents we had in the building with Weber State, it's been the league rival, I guess, for everybody else. So we're trying to earn our way and make our way to beat those guys. But I was really proud of our guys. We had a great fans that night and Saturday as well. So it's exciting to see as a coach the community and our fans rally around this group because they're great kids. They want to do things the right way. They want to play the game the right way, and they just really want to please the people that they're playing for.
Yeah, well, they're certainly doing that. So, and this week was another example of that. Let's go back to that game on Thursday against Weber State. You're not going to find many basketball games that were more entertaining as this. Guys just making big shots from start to finish.
It was, and it was touch and go the whole way. That's a good game like that. It's going to come down to that last 2 to 3 minutes, and that's what it did. We were able to get some stops and score the basketball, but then also do a good job on Singland down the stretch. He's such a talented player. I think our fans saw that, the number of tough shots he hit where it was really good defense. But that's what, to me, this league is about. That's what you're seeing is these really talented players, and it's going to be a tough matchup every night we step on the floor. We just got to be ready to seize the opportunity when it presents itself.
In that game against the Wildcats, you were down big a couple different times, but you were able to make up the stagger quickly. Gino Crandall kind of going on a run by himself in that first half, and then your defense really creating offense in the second half through transition.
Yeah, I think that's the more we preach that with our guys, the more they see it. It's been that way all season long. And they're still learning, they're still growing, but understanding when our defense is bringing the fight to them, as we talked about last week, having urgency, and just really playing with our feet and our hands and our voices. And we end up turning it into good offense and easy offense. We're really good in the open floor. We love to play fast just like Weber does, but it just, again, when we're our best, it's because our defense is starting the possession the right way.
You mentioned Jeremy Singland. The all-conference guard had 21 points in the first half and change, and really from then on out was shut down in the final 15 minutes or so of the contest. What did you guys do differently against him to really take him out of the contest over the last couple of minutes?
I think, we try to keep bodies around him, put different guys, keep fresh guys on him, just trying to wear him down. He's so talented. It's going to be a hard matchup every night for anybody who plays against him, just because his ability to make shots contested. But I thought Gino just stayed the course. Q was on him, even Cortez Seals was on him. We had multiple guys on him. It's just not one guy, it's multiple guys. And doing your best to arrive on a catch and contest shots, that's the best you can do.
No one from their side could slow down your guys. Gino Crandall and Quentin Hooker go for 53. It was a great performance by those two. They helped you rally to a big 83-77 win. Talk about what you said to the team afterwards in the locker room in this one.
Well, I was proud of them. We just preached how hard they had to play from start to finish, and that's what I saw as a coach. There was times where I was just as big a fan as anybody else, just watching them compete, and I was really proud of that effort. It wasn't always pretty. We had mistakes throughout the game, but the effort was always there, and the bench was alive, and it was just a lot of selfless things. The we over me, what we're always trying to preach. That's what you were talking about earlier. Just guys, just really their body language, everything. It was more about what are we doing instead of about what I'm wrapped up if I missed my last shot or I got scored on the last time down the floor.
You transitioned from playing on the top team in the league to a team that was struggling this season, just 3 wins on the year in Idaho State, but a team coming off a big win for them in Northern Colorado. They were playing with some confidence, and it showed in that first half.
It did. We knew they were going to come out, and they've always played pretty well in our building. We didn't show up, a little bit of hangover that first 10 minutes of the game, but I thought the last 30, we dialed in. We were pretty good offensively. And it just shows you have to come to play every night, regardless who the opponent is. You have to be dialed in to have a chance to win this league. It's all about the process. You got to embrace that process.
Yeah, you mentioned the slow start. You were down by 15 in that first half, but the defensive intensity picked up a little bit like it does, and the shooting was lights out. You had 13 threes in this game, 10 in the second half, 7 from Corey Baldwin. What can you say when it's just dropping like that for those guys?
Just keep getting the ball. The first half, we talked to Corey about it. He was dribbling too much. Just shoot the ball. That's what you do a great job of. But him and obviously Q, I think, had 4 in the second half, or 4 total for the game. But that seems to it loosened things up for our guys. We needed somebody to make a couple shots from the perimeter just to loosen up the offense, to loosen up their defense. And again, it was our defense, I felt, that sparked it, and we got out and got some easy ones and got them on their heels a little bit. But we still have a lot of room for growth. That's what's exciting about this group.
Yeah, you get a big 25-point win, now another chance to take a step forward. You get a couple of teams who you've seen already this season in Southern Utah and Northern Arizona. They're struggling a bit in conference play, but you got to expect a good push on the road from these two squads.
There are 2 teams I know that are a much different team at home. They play with much more toughness and energy and focus. So we got to go on there, and it's a moving week for us. We're, again, just like last week with Weber, they got Idaho State twice. We can control our destiny. We can move up or we can move down. It's going to take a focus and a team effort.
Yeah, big week this week, Coach. Safe travels down south.
Okay.
We'll talk to you
Thank
about
you.
it next week. Brian Jones of UND men's basketball. When we come back, we're going to talk with one of the big men on Brian's team, Carson Shanks, who teamed up with Jeff Horner for a little game of pig a couple of weeks ago. Stick with us. Welcome back. Well, UND men's assistant basketball coach Jeff Horner had a stellar career as a player at the University of Iowa as a 4-year starter and the program's all-time leader in 3-point field goals. On the other hand, North Dakota Sports Information Director Ryan Powell peaked as an athlete in middle school by his own admission. But despite the differences in athletic ability, the two have staged great battles all season in the one equalizer that you find on the basketball court, the game of pig. Recently, Jeff and UND big man Carson Shanks teamed up to take on Ryan Powell and myself in a best-of-3 pig series at the Betty. Here's how it played out. So this is it. This is our UND MidcoSN pig tournament that we're taking place right now.
Time.
Carson Shanks, Jeff Horner, Ryan Powell, Alex Heinert. Here we go.
Thanks, Jeff. Gotcha.
Ooh, this is going to be ugly.
Air ball.
Yeah.
All right, thanks. Yeah,
Nice.
boy.
All right. Oh, come on.
All right, so that's I. Left hand, reverse leg.
I know you're not going to do this to me.
Oh!
You guys are about to be treated to sheer athleticism.
Here it is.
I'm not going to make any of them. I got this bulky thing in my...
Yes, sir! Alive! Yes! Just make it. You're 7 foot tall. Attaboy.
Yeah.
Oh, you're kidding me.
Should we play 2 out of 3? When the lights come on, Jeff's really good at basketball. So am I! Just get one letter while we play this game.
Not today.
Oh!
He's seen our team's free throw percentage.
Let's go, Carson.
I've been just doing some stats. I saw what Carson Shanks is shooting this year from the line.
You got SID.
There you
Attaboy,
go.
Shanks.
Attaboy.
Now I have to do this, huh?
Big
An eye
shot
right
here.
Could be an eye right here.
Oh, that's pure.
Pure trash.
PI to P.
There you go.
Yeah!
There we go.
The answer.
Let's go, Shanks.
Oh!
Could make the rim at least.
Oh!
All Big Ten 2006 tournament MVP with the answer.
Yes, sir!
Hold the gooseneck. Hold the gooseneck.
Oof. There we go.
It's a good game. Good game.
This is a good
This
game.
is all you can ask for.
Pig at its finest here at the Betty.
Had a baby
Oh,
five.
man.
No.
From the pocket. Yes, sir. Cold-blooded. To extend it, Jeff Horner!
This is turning into an epic battle.
He doesn't want to lose.
What's going on?
What's your best shot? What's your best
I'm really-
spot?
He doesn't have one.
Let's bank. Bank from right here. There we go. So keep it going.
Right now! Whoa, that's 1-1, bud.
Side it up.
I'm
There you
not
go.
missing.
Carson, I need you to set it up.
Hey, there we go.
Right
There we go. There we go.
You got it,
Hey, there we go.
Step up bucket.
That's
right
a big
there.
one. It's a little PI right
Hey,
now.
someone's disappointed in you. This
for the
happens
game.
every day.
It's for the game. Oh,
I got you, guys.
big
I
catch.
got you. He doesn't shoot inside very often. That's why he's gonna try to trick this one up.
PI to P.
Hey, boy, Cars.
Oh, man.
You know where I'm
Big
going.
momentum swing right here.
Oh,
Big momentum
man.
swing.
And just like that. Big shot.
Big
That was
shot,
good.
pressure.
That was good.
Here it is, buddy.
Oh, man.
Hey, nice ball game.
Heck of a game. Heck of an effort out there.
Hey, great games, guys.
Nice job.
Great game.
As a competitive guy, I was pretty pleased. Corner's a really good shooter. Carson can make some shots. So I thought we had a fighter's chance, and after that first game, we fought. We clawed. We almost had it. That would have been one of the bigger upsets in the world of pig.
Thanks for playing. That was fun.
Hey, thanks, man. That was fun. That was fun.
At least Ryan and I didn't embarrass ourselves too much over the last 4 minutes. We're going to come back to wrap things up. Stay tuned.
UND Sports Extra on Midco Sports Network is presented by Farmers Union Insurance and the University of North Dakota.
North Dakota women's hockey would not take any points off top-ranked Wisconsin in Madison this past weekend, but Brian Adolski's crew would give the Badgers all they could handle. North Dakota would hold Wisconsin to their lowest series shot total this season, but would come up just short in both games, falling 3-2 on Saturday and 2-1 on Sunday. UND will have a 2-game home-and-home set against Bemidji State this Friday and Sunday. Men's hockey and men's hoops are both on the road this weekend, but UND swimming and diving will be in Grand Forks as they host the duel with South Dakota State on Saturday at the Hislop Sports Center. UND women's basketball also at home this weekend and will have their matchup against Southern Utah on Thursday night live here on MidcoSN. That game will start at 7 p.m. in a rematch of a wild game won by UND in Cedar City earlier this month. We hope you join us this Thursday and again next Tuesday night for another edition of UND Sports Extra. Until then, I'm Alex Heinert. Thanks for watching.